You are listening to the Old School Movement podcast with Daz, Chris, and Steve. You understand?
Yes, it's that time again. We're back again with another podcast, and it's the Old School Movements podcast. Isn't that right, guys?
Yeah. Sure is. We're back.
Yeah, man. I'm Mr. Lucas.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Stax.
Yeah, and we're here to bring you those 80s nostalgic vibes and times of fashion and film and music and crisps and sweets and candy and everything we love about the 80s. I'm talking of cans, well, not cans, well, some of these characters are like cans, but this particular podcast features one of the, like, there were sidekicks in 80s movies and they were used as comic relief in some movies, but we liked them because they stood out, you know. And being young, it was all about the robots in the movies, man.
You gotta love a robot.
Yeah, man. The robots.
Robots in movies.
There's such a different ranges of robots, isn't there? Like you've got, you got Tin Man and Wizard of Oz, and then you got C-3PO. You know what I mean?
Classic sci-fi.
Can you class him as a robot? He's not a robot.
Tin Man,
He's the Tin Man.
He's just a Tin Man, isn't it? Yeah. Did he have mechanics though? How did he?
Did he? Did he have mechanics?
Yeah.
If he's a Tin Man,
did he have mechanical heart?
He must be mechanical.
When he opened up, I didn't see any mechanic. Oh, maybe I.
But how's he moving? He can't just move through air. Not just through air in his body. He's got to have mechanics.
Cogs, wheels, and chains and bits and pieces inside. I imagine it to be.
Yeah.
We'll put him in the robot. Tin
Man in. Put Tin Man in with his axe. He had an axe as well, didn't he?
And he had like a silver sprayed funnel stuck on his head, didn't he?
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Like a cooking funnel.
But that was the effect to make him look like a Tin Man. Yeah.
Ghostbusters used a colander at one point. Remember in Ghostbusters?
True.
Oh,
the man had a colander on his head.
So Tin Man was doing his thing there. You know, he could sing, he had an axe. You know,
what did he want? What did he go wizard for? I can't remember.
A heart. Didn't he want a heart?
Yeah, heart, courage, and it was heart.
Courage,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Courage was the lion.
Yeah.
Scarecrow. Don't know what he wanted.
A brain.
But to be brave, that's it. Yeah. It was a heart.
Yeah,
because I'm sure he had a mechanical heart. That's some cog business going on.
Cog heart, really. Anyway,
Tin Man.
Digress.
So we're gonna go on the cyborgs, man. Like, because it was the 80s we first saw cyborgs, you know, and that whole man machine thing, and you know, it started to roll off into lots of movies, you know, whether it was in cartoons, you had your cyborg robots and stuff. But movies had the big impact. And I remember when we were young and we went around our mate's house just to chill out and play with toys and figures and that.
His dad was watching a film.
Dad was watching a film, you know, we're walking past to get some orange squash.
What's that?
And some skips. And we see this movie and we're like, hold on, this looks all right. This guy's a robot and he's a dude, and this dude's Hedge. And that was when we first saw the Terminator movie, man. And like, we must have seen it, not from the beginning, about when, you know, when he's chasing a car. I'm thinking,
the club scene when he's walking through the club or something.
Yeah, it's when he's walking through the club. Yeah, it's around those bits. Yeah.
I remember it, yeah.
And like, I remember we went to go to the kitchen to get these skips and the orange squash, but I don't think we made it to the kitchen.
No.
We just sat back down and watched this movie, man. And you know, Terminator was just like the effects again. The Harry Hansen.
It was like nothing you'd really seen, man.
Came into play, And like back then, that film came out in like
84, was it?
84, yeah, something like that. And so the effects for those days were.
They might have been early.
Groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Groundbreaking. You know when they done the bit where they look through his eyes and it's all like.
Yeah. You know,
when he went.
Yeah. And when he went to the bathroom and opened up his arm.
That was messed up. That made it like a horror film back in them days, man.
Well, it was rated 18, wasn't it? It was an 18-rated movie. So
them bits were a bit like, oh, that's a bit like taking your eye out and cutting your arm over. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah. But the way it was done, though, man, it was like
this bit's battle damage. Look, you know that battle damage when you see a bit of skin ripped and the heart, a robot eye and a good eye. Like it was that. I thought that's wicked how they've done that. But you could tell it was, you know, it was very. you know, the effects weren't great, but it was good.
There was some bits when he took the scalpel out and tried to cut right. It looked like the Wild Boys video. It looks like some like robot heads, like animation, and then like Arnold Schwarzenegger. They used Arnold Schwarzenegger as a guinea pig for that look. They also done it in Total Recall, you know, with that 2 weeks bit, and the head opens up. You see that same like, but no, that's puppet. That's puppet heads.
Puppet.
Back then, that was state of the art.
But that was wicked. Yeah, it was wicked.
It freaked you out. What's going on?
But even though you knew it looked dodgy, they did their best to make that look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And for that split second you're watching, you're so engrossed of what's going on around the movie. You know, you knew it was special effects, but you allowed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because even the robot bit takes out his eye, even though you know that's a robot, it was still
gruesome looking.
You know,
and then again, you know, we're talking about robots. So once you remove the outer skin of the Terminator, what you're left with, it looked wicked. You know it looked like a skeleton, didn't it? It just looked wicked, man.
So that's the T8000, you know.
T800, and it was a T800.
T800. Cyberdyne Systems Model 101.
The early ones.
Made by Skynet.
Make sure you get the serial number right.
The
101.
Because the thing about it is that movie, the Terminator movie, it kept on surprising you. Like what's going to happen next? Like, this guy's a robot from outer space, like
indestructible,
from the future, and he's stalling on killing this one person. Like, how are you not finding this one person? You're like, you're the future, you know what I mean? And you still ain't finding this lady. So, but within the movie, you know, you knew it was a robot, so you knew it was a cyborg, and as you said, the battle damage and stuff. The bit that freaked me out, though, you remember when he was speaking on the radio as one of the police officers after he nicked the car? And I didn't notice that until about on my third watch of watching it. I thought, bloody hell, he's mimicked that guy's voice. You know what I mean? On the radio. So all these little sly bits going on. But the bit that really got me is when the truck, near the end, when the truck rolled over him. And the guy goes, "Oh, buddy, I've knocked someone over." And then Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's the first time he's like, "Get out!" and just dashed him out, and that's when he's like proper like
road rashed.
And then you go, "Okay, that
wicked.
That looks good." But you think, "Okay, he's gonna look like that for the rest of the movie." But then, as you say, is the skeleton at the end, and that's like, okay, you know what I mean? Still dragging his foot. He ain't giving up, you know.
So, you know that robotic noise that's got at the end when he's trying to get through the crusher.
Yeah, man. That's it was mate, big movie. It was
big, and you think, you know, that was the future of weapons, sort of, to send back, you know, this Terminator. What if they were to make another Terminator? How can they have something better that's going to beat that one? Like, it was, that Terminator was bad.
Yeah, and so Terminator 2 comes along. What year was that? That was like in the 90s, wasn't it? 90s.
Yeah. It was a long gap, wasn't it, for them two?
Well, I'm thinking
quite excited.
Probably before 99.
No, it was before that, it was early 90s. But there was like a good 10-year gap between them. And
there was.
The Terminator 2 took a while to come out, but you know, you were excited to see how, you know, what's the next Terminator going to be?
How would they improve on that?
How can they improve on that? That's when you see the T1000.
T1000, man.
T1000.
Damn. It's like
liquid metal.
Yeah.
Again, state-of-the-art graphics.
State-of-the-art.
That looked wicked.
For the time.
That looked wicked in them times.
Yeah. State-of-the-art. You know, it was clever.
But the old Terminator from the 80s still looked good as well. You know, even when Terminator 2 come out, it still looked just as good, if not better now, because the effects and the graphics were better to make the old T800 look better again.
Yeah.
T1000 was good. That's what
definitely
one of my favourites.
And the guy they cast for it was like perfect.
Yeah,
he didn't look threatening. You
didn't really know him. Yeah,
he just
inconspicuous.
Yeah, especially when he wore the police uniform. It's like, okay, that suits that guy's profile like completely. Yeah, so the T1000, man, played by Robert Patrick. But you know, as we were saying just now, great casting. You know, looked the part. But did you know that the singer Billy Idol?
Yeah.
He was first choice. Yeah.
White
first choice for that part.
He was first choice for that part.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
But he had a bike accident, and so you know, he couldn't do it. So
that's how Robert got the opportunity
Robert, yeah,
he fitted it well though, man. He was good, 'cause I didn't really, I'd never seen him in anything back then, so he was.
yeah,
It
worked.
It worked well, yeah. It worked well, and then the bits where it was actually the T1000. There was quite a lot of it. He was split apart on the floor as liquid, or
oh yeah, when they shot him, when he shot him.
them effects in it were
had
wicked.
the hole
man.
in his shoulder.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
wicked. And what I liked with him as well, like when he mimicked things, he'd like his metal would become like the policeman's clothes.
Yeah,
Or, you know, he would just take on whatever they had on. Like it was wicked,
Yeah.
man. And I liked how he could change his limbs, like his arms,
Yeah,
when he was chasing.
blades,
And then he
spikes.
just-
Yeah,
and he had
Yeah,
angles
yeah,
back and
yeah.
cut.
that was
Yeah.
wicked.
Terminator 2 is major, you know.
Terminator
it's big.
bad film.
And
Yeah.
apparently he had to learn like not to look out of breath, not to flinch,
He doesn't,
not
does he,
to
man?
blink.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's not how a robot would react.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
He had to learn how to, when he fires the gun, not to flinch or blink when he's firing,
Yeah.
because the robot wouldn't do that.
That's good acting, isn't it? 'Cause he does.
Yeah.
You saying that
When-
now, I can't
you
imagine.
see
I
it,
can't,
because
you see it
whenever
now.
people talk about him, they always say he's running like he's not out of breath. He's just
Nah,
dusting
like a
down.
machine. Yeah.
Yeah, like a machine.
And like
So,
you
yeah,
say,
yeah.
he's like, there's no facial expression. The eyes ain't blinking. He's just,
he's
that's big acting, man.
Yeah,
Thinking about it now,
exactly.
that's good.
Exactly. He had to,
That's
so he
probably
ain't out of
that's
breath.
one of my favorite robot sort of, even though it's that liquid, but it's
Yeah.
the way it's done.
Cyborg, man. The
It's
cyborg, man.
it's
You know,
wicked.
and as you say, the whole liquid metal
Mm.
things that was done by George Lucas's Industrial Light and Magic.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
that was a progression of the special effects from that film company. Man.
I heard he had the idea for it, like almost back when he done Terminator 1, but the technology weren't there to get it out on, to do that on screen.
Yeah.
So that must be, getting the top guys involved was the way to go with that, wasn't it? If you've got
Yeah,
people,
man.
like what,
Yeah.
Light and Art, whatever they are.
Yeah, but for me, we might have already said this, but for me, after Terminator 2, it doesn't. Terminator films are
They're done, man.
done. It's done.
Yeah,
It's
done.
just 1 and 2.
Yeah.
You know,
The most
if any
recent
more
one ain't bad.
cyborgs, but nah.
The most recent one is definitely watchable. All of them ones in between, forget about it. The most recent one's another Cameron one, isn't it? Another James Cameron
Yeah,
one. For me,
true.
I think for all of us, the 800 and the T1000, they're in there with the cyborgs. Best
Yeah.
of the
That's
best ones.
But the cyborgs didn't stop there in the 80s, man, and moving into the 90s, because when this next cyborg that we're going to talk about came in the game, we were like, damn, could he beat Terminator? His gun's better, but it was just a different move, wasn't it? And they tried lots of different robots to enforce the law in Detroit. But they ended up with choosing Murphy, and that's RoboCop, man.
RoboCop.
Like that film for me, it came out of the blue, because back then there's no trailers and
Nah.
it was just bam. There was just a poster at a bus stop. Them kind of moves.
You didn't even
like,
see
hey?
it in the paper or something saying, this is in
Yeah,
production.
yeah.
There was
Or
No mention of it.
No
at
Barry
all.
Norman. Barry Norman didn't let this one slip.
he let that one slip.
I was like,
I
hey,
forgot about him.
because Barry Norman, I'm sure it finished in the summer, and he'll tell you what the films will be coming out for the rest of that
Yeah,
year
he did,
until the show comes back on.
Up until your Christmas ones or whatever it was.
And I'm like, hey, come on, man. I don't remember you telling me
missed
about
that one.
RoboCop, but maybe because that show was on late, film 86 or whatever it was. It's like, every year. But it was on late, and it's a kind of program I'd struggle to watch.
Yeah,
It was on about 10:30.
But it was Friday though. It was
Finished
Friday
late,
night.
gone 11s, man.
It was late though, man.
Yeah.
Man, I watched that, and you're right. He didn't mention RoboCop.
I didn't mention it. And I remember, I think when I first heard the name of it, it put me off a bit. I thought that sounds budget. So that's going to be
corny.
rubbish. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
corny, man.
yeah.
No, man. It's like Robo Dog, Robo. Nah, it's going to be.
It's one of the best.
It's going to be one of the.
It's one of the best movies.
But I didn't even watch the title like that. As I said, I just saw the poster of him stepping out of that car.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, that's it. You know what I mean? This is
Once you've seen a bit of the trailer or one of them bits, just
this
the
is
foot
it.
stepping out the car was
just
good.
the poster. I'm saying,
Just the
remember
poster of it.
I just saw the poster. That's it. And then I remember someone had it on pirate, and I meant, what, that film with that poster, mate?
Yeah.
And then
I think my brother got it on pirate before I even knew about it, so I hadn't even seen the poster or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's in his room, doors closed, and he's got these big Jamo speakers, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm walking past, I hear, "You've got 20 seconds to comply." I'm like, how was he watching it? And you know when they start shooting, the bass from these Jamos was like, I'm like, nah, I need to know what's going on in that room.
Yeah.
I just knock on the door. I put my head around, and he's like, "What you want?" I'm like, "What are you watching? It looks quite good."
Sounds alright.
He's like, "Nah, you're not old enough to watch it," and kicked me out of the room. Fuming.
Mate. But again, that's the beauty of RoboCop, because before you've even seen Murphy, RoboCop, you introduced Ed 209.
Exactly.
So, it goes bam into like the
Another
villain,
robot.
and you're thinking, okay, it's looking interesting. But as you say, in that scene when it came out again, they had to cut it because it was too violent.
A lot of that's cut, isn't it? Yeah.
A lot of that film was cut, man, because when he made the first cut of the film, they had to say you have to take out this bit, this bit, this bit, this bit. And when it comes on, the RoboCop comes on TV, like when Murphy gets shot and so on. Yeah,
there was a lot more to that.
Yeah, a lot more to that. There's a lot.
There was loads. There was a lot of shooting. People were getting peppered, mate.
Is there a full true edit out there to see nowadays, or is it still?
There is. I'm sure there is.
Because I remember seeing the version where his hand gets proper blown off.
Yeah.
I think
and I haven't seen that version in a long time.
That version is out there.
Yeah, no, there's some like close-ups of him getting shot in the head at the end of that bit, which you won't. I think in the version we saw, you just hear it, or you just see like a shot of what's his name, Clarence body. So you see him over him rather than actually seeing the headshot sort of thing. But a lot of it was quite like you say, definitely the Ed 209 scenes.
But we was lucky to see it in the 80s because it had most of what was what we should have seen, what we shouldn't have seen as kids, but we got to see it in all its glory. But did you know that Arnold Schwarzenegger was considered to be RoboCop?
That would have worked, wouldn't it? That would have looked weird.
He would have been the cyborg man of the 80s, isn't it? From going Terminator to RoboCop. He's some variation.
Well, could you imagine if he was in number 3 on the motorbike?
Do you know what I mean? because the thing is, he looks silly as Mr. Freeze in
definitely.
Yeah. So that's the kind of outfit he would have been wearing.
He looked like the Hulk in the Iron Man costume, that sort of thing. Because if you think about the guy who plays, I've forgotten his name, the guy who plays RoboCop, he's not the biggest of blokes, but when he's got the suit is huge.
Him up.
The suit's huge, like,
so you
just
need
to get
a slim guy for the outfit.
It would not have worked.
Yeah,
it would not have worked.
They also considered Michael Ironside.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't have worked.
And
again, it was good. It was someone we didn't know. It was good.
Yeah, and also considered Rutger Hauer to.
That wouldn't have worked.
Hitcher. Hitcher wouldn't have worked. And the suit was created by a guy called.
It's Rob something, wasn't it?
Rob Bottin.
Rob Bottin, yeah.
And
that's funny.
Robotin.
Rob Bottin.
Robotin. Yeah. Put his name together.
That's gotta be made up, isn't it?
But he
was the guy who worked on the
effects
on the
thing.
Yeah. He worked with Carpenter before on the thing. Yeah. That's why they hired him.
All that gore and stuff. That was probably his.
Yeah. No, I think there was them suits were budgeted at 1 million to make, and they ended up making 6 in total. There was the 3 full suits, and then there was 3 battle damage mashed up ones. But £1 million a piece, man. For a prop.
A prop,
They were the most expensive prop in the film. There was nothing bigger in the film, budget-wise, than the suit. The suit killed it, man. Like you say, it sold the film. Like you watched it just from seeing the poster, of seeing that metallic-y silver.
Exactly. You never seen anything like it, and it was just like, even though it was rated 18, it was like you were seeing. This is before Power Rangers.
It's like a cartoon coming to life, almost, isn't it? Like a Centurions, but now it's a live-action cop version. But the thing I used to hate is, why didn't no one shoot him in the mouth, or why didn't he never get shot in the chin? He could go in amongst load of shootouts, and he'd never get shot in that bit that's still human.
Yeah,
it's true though.
Didn't he get shot in his face by a kid in RoboCop 2?
He gets he gets a hole in the eye or something, doesn't he? I think.
Yeah. But you can say that of any hero.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, you could.
Batman,
True.
Shoot him in the
Maybe
head.
the villains should check that out. Maybe they like
Find his weak spot.
Evaluate their plans and
Shit in his mouth unprotected. Like.
Exactly. Also, interestingly, Stats, you were saying earlier on about RoboCop on the bike. He was in the inspiration behind RoboCop was Judge Dredd.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and that's,
he does look like Judge Dredd when he's on that bike.
The whole bike.
Because
remember, and RoboCop, he is like he upholds the law.
Yeah, of course, he's like the judge.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, he's got objectives that he can, you know.
Never really saw that comparison.
Yeah.
That works. That totally works.
You know, RoboCop, man, RoboCop. But yeah, so like, and you know, even the adverts. Remember the little adverts they had in the film of the car, SUX 6000, and the battleships and stuff. That apparently that was all there to soften the violence in the film.
Make it seem more family film.
Yeah. More come on, like if the family stepped in and saw that battleship advert, I'll buy that for $1 advert. Okay, you know. But
I used to like the SUX, the something car SUX or something.
Yeah, SUX 6000. Yeah,
they used to
it had the dinosaur.
Yeah,
jump on the hood.
Yeah. Even though the film was based in Detroit, it was all most of it filmed in Dallas.
It was Dallas, wasn't it? Yeah, because there's Dallas. I remember seeing that before. There's Dallas landmarks. You know, for people from Dallas, like blatantly know, hold on, that's like down the road where we are. Like this ain't Detroit. Like,
yeah.
It is bad. It is bad. And you know, I like we touched on it earlier. Ed209 as another robot. You know, that was all stop go, wasn't it? That was more.
That was like the Harry Hansen again effects. Yeah.
But that again, man, it was to have that in it. It didn't. For me, I always thought, you know, it's a unfair battle to have a big bulky tank-looking robot thing against one that looks like a human. You know, it seems unfair, but I like the way that was as like a sort of military designed robot. That thing was wicked. That thing looked wicked, man. It did look good.
It's true.
As long as it's not in there any steps, it's fine.
Yeah, that's the only thing, man. It had so many flaws in it, didn't it? You know, it couldn't move its arms to a certain degree. It only had many flaws. But
if it had you in its range, because that guy didn't have a hope. But saying that, I know it's Hollywood. You gotta make things look real. But if Ed209 was in front of you, you'd go around it and just run out the door.
Yeah, it's true.
You just go through his legs, isn't it? You'd like
just nutmeg him. Just nutmeg him and dust. Because he
can't run.
He can't run. You know, and by the time you run around it, because I know he can spin around. I'm sure he can spin around.
Yeah.
But by the time because he's still counting down. He ain't gonna shoot until he finishes countdown.
That's true.
He ain't, you know, so just run.
But saying that, have you seen RoboCop run? RoboCop used to do like a shuffle thing, didn't he, to get away fast?
Well, that suits the both of them then, doesn't it?
That suits the both of them.
They're both slow.
I love it.
But there's also in RoboCop 2 Kane. Like he's addicted to crack. The robot was addicted to crack.
It was what was the drug called again?
Nuke or something.
Nuke.
Yeah, that was it.
Called Nuke?
The little thing you pierce in your neck.
Yeah. Was it called Nuke? It was Nuke.
It was Nuke.
It was,
and the little boy that was pushing it.
Yeah. So they had crackhead robots in RoboCop 2. That was a bit deep. Because he still had his human brain, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he was still he still wanted to
Can you see? Can he have like a thing in his chest and you could see it, or in his stomach or something?
Like avatar of him. It's his
brilliant graphics. Like, you know, you see that and you're like, damn, like
it did look good,
stepped up. But like all the other robots that they had that didn't make it, you know, when they bring them out tested and you get to see all these different robots, that was wicked.
But they tried to make a new RoboCop for the future, didn't they? Yeah, that was good. But it wasn't as good as RoboCop. Like you know how Hollywood is, you have to make sequels if the first one's successful. But I would have been happy with just RoboCop.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean? No remake either. You know, just standalone RoboCop.
No remake.
People still talking about it now, and you know, even though Larry. He done the cartoon, didn't he? When we were talking with Larry about it, all the cartoons he done.
He did do the cartoon, he was saying. Right?
Yeah. But yeah, man, Cyborgs, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we ain't finished there. We got more Cyborgs from the 80s, from the old school. And we're going to move on to a couple of films now. Again, these films weren't targeted at us, but hey, we had to watch them. And there was a move in this particular film that everybody done at school after, where you'd place your left or right hand on the table flat, and someone would get a knife.
Maybe a pen or a pencil.
Or a pencil. Yeah.
And
majority of the time a knife, though,
in and out, in and out, in between your fingers as fast as they can. And that was inspired by the movie Aliens, man. Yeah. And that trick was done by the android cyborg, whatever you want to call him, Bishop. Lance Bishop. Played by Lance Henriksen, Lance Henriksen, I think.
Lance Henriksen,
yeah.
And I'm sure the character was called Lance Bishop as well.
So he was first introduced, I'll say, in Aliens in '86, and then in Alien, was it Alien? What's that last one called? Resurrection, was it? Was it another one?
No, he was in Aliens.
He was in Aliens.
Predator, an Aliens Predator.
Was he in Aliens Predator?
I think he was in Alien Predator as well.
I thought he was in Alien 3. The beginning of Alien. He was in Alien 3.
He might be in the beginning of that one, actually. Because he survives in 2, doesn't he? Don't he get put in the life support ship?
Yeah, after he gets split in half.
Yeah, he gets split in half, but I'm sure he's still about. Like, he is still going.
I didn't think it was 3. I thought it was the one after that.
It could
I'm
be
not sure.
But I can't remember.
One of them sort of,
it's been a while since I've seen him.
So many now. But yeah, I just like him in 2. That's mainly for me, remembering from 2.
Bishop, and that kind of cyborg android, like the T1000, he was convincing as a human, and it's not until he made a little flinch or something you go, okay, because during the film I didn't know until he done some
doing the knife thing. He nicked his finger and a little bit of white stuff come out. That's when Ripley realizes, isn't it? And she's like, shit, you let me down in the first one of you androids let me down in the first one or whatever, innit? And she just didn't trust him from then. But I liked his character. I really liked his character in it, man. And he ended up pretty much saving everyone at the end. He saved Newt, I think, from falling into space, and even though there was only half of him left, he managed to hold her in it.
It's handy. He was handy. In the
movie. I think he was mainly there to fly that ship, wasn't he? He knew all the paths through the planets, and he could fly the landing ship as well as the big ship.
And he didn't have to go into hypersleep or anything like that, did he?
Yeah, he could just go on and on.
The
Sulaco, when USS Sulaco was the big ship that they all like the mothership thing.
Westworld.
I haven't seen this one.
The original Westworld.
Original Westworld, Yul Brynner. You see that film Westworld, that apparently that inspired James Cameron to make the Terminator movies.
Oh, really?
Because I think that was the first movie of its time to have a proper cyborg. Was Yul Brynner again, like Terminator's character.
But he malfunctioned, didn't it?
Yeah, he malfunctioned. All the robots malfunctioned, remember?
Yeah, it's always the case, isn't it?
But Yul Brynner's character, he was the main, like his Westworld, his setting was the main focus of the film.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing it when he walked up to the 2 guys who went to the resort, and they go, "Oh, it's that guy again."
Yeah.
And he shoots one dead. And then he goes, draw.
He's like, look, I'm not in the mood. It was before he goes, I'm not in the mood, go away or something. And he just shoots him. It's like, he's dead. What's going on?
Yeah. And then all the robots just went, I remember watching that young. I think that's the first film I watched with cyborgs in it, probably.
Well, you know what I liked? You see the lines in your hand. You could only tell they were cyborgs if you put a plate in their hand and it clinked on those lines there.
Where the joints were.
Yeah. If it didn't clink, they were human. But they had metal bits in those bits, so when you put a plate in the hand, it clinked. Then you know they were a cyborg. Otherwise, you wouldn't know.
That Westworld was a good film, man.
I haven't seen Westworld, but it's mad you mentioning Terminator again there a bit, because Hendrickson was, I heard, originally cast to play the Terminator well before Arnie, because he worked with.
Oh, another one now. Okay.
Yeah, he was the because he worked with Cameron on Aliens, then I heard that he was the first choice to be Terminator, because he wanted such a nondescript face that would hide in a crowd that you wouldn't think would be a Terminator. So he was originally cast. So they ended up giving it to Arnie, but they kept Hendrickson in the film, as he's in the the big shootout, which one of my favourite scenes, a shootout in the cop station.
Isn't he one of the police officers?
He's one of the police officers, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He's the police.
There's two, and he's the one who shoots him with the rifle.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Arnie unloads on him with an automatic and a shotgun, but you don't see his body. You think, he's wasted now. You don't see him for the rest of the film. But he got written in parts for Terminator 2 and 3, but just never got to.
Anyway, that was the Terminators. Yeah. Now, another android cyborg, you know. Cyborg.
Sideboard.
Sideboard. Another sideboard android was from a 1982 sci-fi movie, loosely based on a novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, starring Harrison Ford. You know, he come fresh out of Star Wars movies, Indiana Jones, and then he went to another zone. Yeah, it's a bit long, isn't it? So he went into another zone with futuristic thriller, which is Blade Runner. Now, as I said, you know, he come off the back. We knew him as Indiana Jones and Han Solo. So to see him in this, it wasn't that hype Han Solo Harrison Ford dude, was it? And it was a very gloomy movie. All I remember is rain and long coats.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And darkness.
Damp grey sets and yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've seen it.
That wouldn't surprise me, Stax. But you know of it, right?
Yeah.
So the Blade Runner, and that was based on the androids called replicants.
Okay.
And they were running around the city, and the Blade Runner had to infiltrate these replicants. And the main one was Rutger Hauer again, and he played a guy called Roy Batty, and he was part of one of the replicants made by the Tyrell Corporation. Daryl Hannah as well. Harrison Ford's character was a specialist in finding these dudes,
finding them, hunting them down, or whatever.
And the reason why I've included them in our site, because they're just, again, they had a big cult following, and they're part of that whole 80s culture thing, you know. Blade Runner, you know, and then they had the second Blade Runner came out a couple of years back, didn't it, as well?
Was that a remake? Or
no, it wasn't a remake. It was a sequel. Yeah, the sequel. It was a sequel. But yeah, Blade Runner is a good film, but at the time, you know, we wasn't too attracted to it as we were with his other movies. You know what I mean? But still,
like Terminators. And Harrison Ford's other films, it didn't have the attraction for me.
Yeah, but it's a good film. I recommend. Try and have a look at it now.
Yeah, it's one of them ones I'm gonna have to. It's one of them ones you should see. I know I should have seen it, and you know, to be honest, I've tried a few times to watch the original one. Even quite recently, I've tried because there's been like an extended cut version. Is what I'm thinking of. I didn't think I knew then about the sequel. I was thinking of the extended cut of the old.
Yeah, they did have an extended cut. You're right. Yeah.
That I've tried watching possibly this year, earlier on during lockdown. But again, I lost it within the first half an hour. Look.
So yeah, that was our movie Cyborgs. But come on, like, you know, I did say Westworld was probably the first cyborg robot man thing I saw on TV, but it wasn't. That was the first film. The first robot cyborg man I saw was Bionic.
That's my one too.
Steve Austin, man. Astronaut. His ship crashed, right? And they had the technology to rebuild him.
They had to rebuild him. Yeah, they had to rebuild him.
And they gave him an arm, an eye, a couple of bits and pieces. Yeah.
Give him an arm and a leg.
You know what I mean? Give him some super speed and some super strength. Noises when he jumps over fences.
I still love that noise.
And voila, the Bionic Man cometh. Yeah, mate. So, what are you guys' memories of the Bionic Man?
That's from the early days, isn't it, man? I remember it from the early days. I remember that intro bit, like you say, you see him in the capsule with a rocket taking off, didn't you? And you see there's been an accident, and then some bits were a bit like at that age as well, because I think it was early to late 70s. It was running for. So we must have caught that the late 70s, early 80s sort of runs of it.
Yeah,
and there was bits that I didn't like looking at, man. Like the bits with his eye and stuff. I don't know. Maybe I was a bit squeamish as a kid. Same with the Terminator stuff. But it was wicked, man. I remember dusting
little bits of it.
fast running, a red tracksuit, and proper running fast, like
and
measuring his speed and measuring this, and there was all bits going on the screen.
Yeah, mate, he did.
It was just computer graphic-y and just good for them days. For TV, it was wicked.
Oh yeah, I love Bionic Man. $6 million man.
$6 million man.
You know, you could even buy a League Two footballer for that price now, couldn't you?
That's
mad,
$6 million. But there was rumored there was going to be a remake with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah,
$6 billion man.
$6 billion man. But that's still apparently it's still out there. I think.
The idea is still.
The last I heard is I don't know if production happened on it, but last I heard it was meant to be released this year, but because of COVID and because of Wonder Woman's release date, they put it off. I think until like 2021. So I'm hearing that it's still about and it's still
okay. But it's been bubbling for a while. The idea,
I've heard. Since about 2016.
Yeah. They've been trying to get that film out, man.
Yeah.
But do you guys remember the Bionic Woman, the Bionic Dog?
I remember the woman quite clearly. The dog I remember hearing about, and I probably saw it, but I don't remember much about it. Was that on TV? Was it a TV series?
Yeah. Because they used to have like mini films, like in between episodes. They would have a season, then a Bionic Man film.
Like an hour special one.
Special. Yeah. But no, and again, that was my first introduction, probably for you guys, of Lee Majors. You see him as Bionic Man, then Fall Guy.
See, I'm a bit younger than you lot, so I remember him from Fall Guy and little snippets of Bionic Man. I wouldn't say I've even seen an episode, but Fall Guy.
They're worth watching back if you see some. There's some really good cameo actors in it. Andre the Giant is in one of them, I remember. Does he play big? I think he plays a Bigfoot character or something. But there is good actors from the days like who had cameos in it. They're worth watching.
Yeah, man. Bionic Man. The first robot cyborg we saw on TV.
It's one of them early TV memories. That and like the Incredible Hulk days, watching them too.
Yeah, I remember.
Like it was.
Hulk.
Yeah, there were them early days of watching these fantastic American. Before Knight Rider, before A-Team, it was these. Fall Guy just went straight. It was just as good. Like it was good because we knew Lee Majors from $6 Million Man. Yeah. And you had spin-offs. The toys were wicked. You had the lollies, the toys. The toy was wicked. You could take the little bit out of his arm.
I loved that toy. That was early Terminator move. That's the Terminator move.
That's the Terminator.
Like taking the bits out of his forearm, looking for his eye.
They got that for $6 million man.
Yeah. So I think that wraps up our Cyborgs robots episode today. What do you reckon?
Yeah, there was a film called Cyborg. Was that
Van Damme?
Yeah, that was the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's 90s. But it's still old school. We could but
I can't remember what.
I don't think I ever saw it.
No, I must have done, but I can't. I'm trying to think what was the cyborg bit. Like I don't remember him looking like a cyborg.
So yeah, guys, thanks for listening to our robots podcast. We're going to be back with more robots. More robots from movies and from cartoons and robot toys. So stay tuned. With I'm Mr. Lucas.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Stacks.
And we out, guys.
Till next time.
Peace.
Those were the days I remember.